Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, here we go. What is the last thing you created? I, before you get to answer, everybody say this. Everybody repeat after me. We are all creators. We are all creators. From the day that we're born, we create our views of the world. Similar to the way that painters have a palette of colors, and they'll blend those colors on their palette to create masterpieces, right? Each and every one of us has our own palette, a perception palette, as I like to call it. As we go through life, we add experiences to our palette. And while, like artist palettes begin neatly arranged and eventually become a medley of madness, that's kind of how ours do, mixing up colors into different shades and hues. And their, their works, these artists, they're working to have their they're working to have their paintings put up in museums all over the world, the Smithsonian, the Louvre, Beyonce House, while our masterpiece is only going to exist in the Mind of Our Memories Museum. So, y'all know, I wanted to do a big art project with y'all and bring in paint and all of that, but budgets be budgeting. It was going to get too messy and all of that. But we don't need to do all of that. We can use our imaginations. So, let's imagine our minds as a blank canvas, right? We're going to paint this canvas throughout our lifetimes, but instead of colors like the painters use, we are going to use our experiences, our teachings, our emotions, and our senses. We're going to be hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching to add our unique perceptions to our palette. Now, let me ask you something. When somebody asks you, what do you think? What's your immediate response? Like, where does your mind go? If you're like me, it goes into like a whirlwind of memories. Everything from me being a child in the store, everything from childhood visits to the store to hating art classes when I got older, me creating wonderful memories here at the university, and to now I get flued out and capture people's moments and memories, capture their love and life all over the world. All of those things go onto my perception palette, all of the experiences. Let's consider our childhood is like a black and white phase, right? Where, you're getting basic teachings as a child. You don't really have much nuance. Nuance is a great word. Very, very rarely get to use it in a sentence. But yeah, you don't have that. As a child, you tend to see things in, like black and white, good or bad, right or wrong, without much nuance. Like going to the like going to the store when you were younger, and before you even got out of the car to go into that store, you might get that talk, that warning talk. You might get that talk, more of a warning, and I call it the nothing talk. And the talk goes, don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, cause you're not getting nothing. But you're a kid, and you don't care about none of that. Children do not describe to the concept of no, and their curiosity is what makes them special and cool. As a kid, you just keep it positive, right? Relentless in your search for joy. You're gonna start asking from the time you walk into that store to last minute, begging for something, jumping up and down, begging, asking for something, anything, and asking and asking and asking, and then finally you get a yes. Man, that was a great feeling. Those small details that you were adding to your palette without knowing, little sprinkles of color. Those things are later remind you that if you keep it a little more positive, a little more persistent, if you keep your eyes on the prize, you might actually get that thing that you've been asking for. And as we get a little bit older and we want to add some colors onto our palette ourselves, we want to get, you know, we want to try to do something on our own. And sometimes against our parents' approval, right? But it's a must. As you get older, you have to start doing some things on your own. But this is great. You start to decide, what clothes you want to wear, what friends you want to hang out with, uh, what participant, sorry, what friends you want to hang out with, what activities you like to participate in. And sometimes, we stay up on the phone past your phone, and sometimes you get a little risky. Stay up on the phone past your phone curfew, trying to talk to your best friend or, that weird crush you used to have. Around that age where you start to hear, oh, you think you grown. And secretly, of course, we all thought we were grown. And sidebar, adulting, completely ghetto, overrated, 0 out of 10, would not recommend. But adding those colors on our own, it was a little spicy. Made you feel good. You know what I'm saying? Being able to add your own colors, trying to get rid of some of that black and white that you were taught when you were younger. And if you were like me, maybe a little aggressive or risky with your decision making. So that art class that I talked about hating, well, the only reason I hated the art class is because I hated my work in the art class. I had a negative perception of the art class. I did all the work. I had a negative perception of my art. So I did all the work. I kept it to myself. As in, like I never turned it in. As in, I failed that art class. I think about that often. I hated my art, made me fail an art class. But my perception quickly changed because report cards came out, and that was not report cards came out right before Christmas, and that was not a Christmas to remember. I still never got those Jordans that I wanted. I didn't get those Jordans then. I still never got those Jordans. So what do I do? I mean, got to do something. Either I do better work, don't don't take no more art classes. Realistically, right? You just you have to dust yourself off, get over yourself. Don't be negative about the things that you create. Maybe give yourself a little grace. And maybe I have a little bit of trauma myself that still exists because of that because I still do art. But my perception has completely changed on my work, the way that I perceive it and the way that I would like others to perceive it. I had to just add more and more and more colors to my palette as I got older. But you guys are becoming young adults. Of course you know it all. But did you know your perceptions are fundamentally flawed? Our brains are pretty much just operating on autocorrect. And when you haven't had an experience, you tend to just, make it make sense. Do you remember the first time that you told somebody you were going to college? Or the first time specifically you told somebody you were going to Prairie View? I remember the first time I told somebody. No, I remember the first time my mom told me I was going to Prairie View. She didn't ask. She told me. It it was fine because I wasn't I wasn't in a hurry to make a decision. But I remember telling other people that I was going to Prairie View, and I remember their responses and their perceptions. And while some were informed, the negative ones typically came from people who had never been to Prairie View, and they had only heard whatever they heard, most likely from somebody who hadn't ever been to Prairie View or maybe even hadn't been enrolled here. The people that be just, kind of saying anything. So I get to PV, and my first day at PV, we're on the way to Prairie View, and I'm terrified. I think that I'm not terrified. I'm a little afraid that my roommates might know each other, and I might end up being a third wheel, and I just didn't want it to be weird. Of course, as fate would have it, my roommates knew each other. Not only did they know each other, they were best friends and they were cousins. I thought that I was going to be the odd man out, but not only was I not the odd man out, they embraced me. Before our parents left, we prayed all together and over each other. Later that night, they invited me to go hang with them and, well, really just go watch the band practice. And I was like, wait, watch the band practice? It's my first day at college. This is the thing? Okay. So cool. Let's go watch the band practice. And we get there, and I'm completely amazed. You see, this band didn't band like the band that I had in college. This band ain't my band in high school did not band like this band was banding. My band in high school didn't band like this. Very quickly, I was like, "Oh man, this is live. I'm okay. This is not what people were talking about." Very quickly, so we make it through Panther Camp. We start going to class, start meeting different types of black people that I didn't know existed from different backgrounds that think that from different places, different backgrounds, didn't think like I thought. I was sold. First hump day. Figuring out what organizations to join as I grew older, becoming a student leader, finally the celebration at his graduation, and all the time wondering why those people had those negative perceptions about this place that they'd never been. And then a reminder, they were just seeing it wrong. They needed to add more colors to their own palette. All of our perceptions of things are vastly different before, during, and after the experience. But the experience is the only thing that's going to teach you the experience. They all add up to more colors and shades on our palette. But again, our brain is a powerful thing. It's constantly, subtly tricking us into believing that we're perceiving the world as it is. When we're only really perceiving the world as it is to us, and we tend to believe that people are seeing it the way that we are, but it's not. And it's extremely apparent while we're doing this, we also sharing our experiences with each other. We're asking each other about music, about food, what professors to take, what classes to take, what places to go. Hmm. What places to go on vacation. We ask each other about music. Oh, sorry. We're constantly seeking to add to our own perception by asking others what their views are. And when we receive them, it's a reminder that we're not actually all seeing it at the same. We're not actually seeing everything as the same. You might even have to, there's times where you might have to throw some colors onto your boring friends palette just because they never do it. Thinking about encouraging your friends to look at everything from everywhere. And of course, cliche, think out of the box. And I think as humans, we have a responsibility to ourselves to question everything, or even our own perspectives, challenge the old perspectives and traditions. We're powered by these things. We have an obligation to look at everything from everywhere then. We also have to consider everybody. So that's what I do. I look at everything from everywhere. In my real life, my friends call it Dixon logic, where I'm basically just always playing devil's advocate, but like an angel, because, of course. But as a photographer, I meet tons of people, man. So I think that it's the perfect line of work for me. My personality is very, very exciting. Speaking to different people from different cultures and lifestyles, you'd be amazed how much you can learn from someone in a 30-minute photo session. I think experience in life is like a gateway drug to more and more diverse experiences, and the more diverse your palette becomes, the more diverse you become. Think about going on vacation. And when you're on vacation, you're actively seeking experiences. You're getting out of your comfort zone. You're trying new foods. You're pursuing something that might challenge your fears, perceptions, perspectives. And then sometimes being able to be a little kid, be a little carefree in that moment. Like that kid you were in the store. When you're on vacation, you living in color. And this is fairly apparent because when you get back from vacation, you always want to go back on vacation. So I think life should be on vacation. You should spend every day trying to live as boldly as you were on vacation. And I get it. And I know on vacation you're painting big, bold, vibrant strokes and new experiences as opposed to the black and white ones that we learned as a kid. But also still needing to be remembered that but still needing to remember the fun that we had when we were that kid, the joy that we had, the adventurous nature that we had, and a willingness to explore our own curiosity. But we get back from vacation and going through our day-to-day activities, it just seems like there's no end in sight. It's mundane, it's seemingly boring brushstrokes onto your canvas. But remember, life is about the extremes and everything in between. So those brushstrokes in the end that those brushstrokes that are seemingly boring are gonna be just as important as the ones that we created when we were on vacation, or as that kid in the grocery store, or talking with that weird crush. As we go through our day to day, we constantly still perceiving the who, what, when, where, why, and how of things. Our brains constantly spinning. But while we do that, we have to intentionally experience life boldly, take it all in, and push it. Appreciate all the colors that we've created in our palette, but also know that we can always create more colors, more shades, more nuance. And as we journey through life, we have to remember that that's all it is. It's a journey, a series of experiences, a series of brushstrokes on our canvas. And the crazy part about it is that we are all creators. We are all creators. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to be painting until the very end. Y'all have been great. Thank you. Oh man, I was about to get mad again because I thought that these headphones wasn't on again.